All right. Hello and welcome to our Wednesday, July 17th Design Review Commission meeting. Let's start with a welcome and roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chair Case,
Here.
Vice Chair Newsom,
I am here.
Commissioner Weingarten.
Here.
Let it be for the record, Commissioners Valia and Killian have submitted their resignations and are no longer Design Review Commissioners. So we have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Item number 2 is consent calendar. So this is anything that may be placed by the commission secretary when an item is expected to be routinely approved without discussion or debate.
No recommended consent items.
Okay. Public communications. So this is reserved for comment for items not on the agenda. Anyone looking to make public comments for items not on the agenda? Seeing none. All right, so at this point, we will move to our item 4. We have up first a study session for the Chaudhry new single-family residence. Is there a staff presentation for this one?
Yes, there is.
Great, thank you.
So good evening, commissioners. Tonight we're here for a study session to review an application for a new single-family home at 2109 Overlook. I just need to get the clicker. Sorry about that. So a project with a very similarly designed single-family home was entitled in 2007-2008, but those plans have since expired in those entitlements. And so tonight is a study session for a recommendation to the Planning Commission on the design review and the conditional use permit. So the project includes development of a vacant lot with a 2-story single-family home with 1 2-car garage and 1 1-car garage, as well as new landscaping throughout the site. As part of the project, 4 trees are proposed for removal, and those are Siberian elms, and that has been approved for removal with the city arborist. The site is zoned M3, which is a multiple family zoning district and requires a conditional use permit for development of a single family home. The site is designated as multifamily low in the general plan, and this designation is intended to serve as a transition between single-family neighborhoods and commercial or higher density residential areas. So the existing surrounding area consists of single-family and some lower density multifamily residential units. The lot is substandard for the M3 zoning district's minimum lot size of 15,000 square feet. The gross lot area is 7,000 square feet. There is a 20-foot wide access easement that spans across the lot, and that reduces the lot area to a net lot area of around 5,233 square feet. The site is also slightly sloped. As part of the review, staff is asking the Design Review Commission to provide feedback on the parking and access. As currently proposed, there is a 10-foot distance between the edge of the access easement and the garage doors. Staff is considering requiring a condition of approval to prohibit parking on that 10-foot driveway area, but would like the DRC to opine on that. So the design consists of primarily pure white color for the stucco and lap siding areas with a dark gray for all trim and fascia elements. So you'll see the front of the building, that is the side facing St. John's Court, and that's adjacent to that access easement. This is the elevation facing Overlook Drive, and throughout the building you'll see elements that are proposed to reduce that perceived bulk. The first story is slightly smaller, or the second story is slightly smaller than the first story. And so this is the elevation facing 2115 and 2119 Overlook. Again, that second story is slightly smaller. And this is the rear elevation, and that does include a second story deck balcony. So for the landscape, the site is proposed to be landscaped throughout with a variety of shrubs and trees, including California fescue shrubs and black oak trees. Again, there is those 4 elm trees proposed for removal, and obviously there is no landscaping proposed within that access easement. So in regards to CEQA, the project is utilizing the new construction or conversion of small structures exemption, which is allowed for projects that consist of 1 single-family home in residential zones. So staff is asking the Design Review Commission to provide comments to the Planning Commission for consideration on the conditional use permit and the design review, specifically regarding the CEQA exemption, site layout, building design, vehicle access and parking, landscaping, colors, and materials. So I'm available for any questions you might have, and the applicant is here as well to speak.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of staff from our commissioners?
Yes, could you talk a little bit more about the parking, what we're being asked to consider there?
Yeah, so let me just go, well, you can probably see it on that one, sorry. So because of the lot constraints, it's so small, you can see the edge of the access easement, that orange, there's only 10 feet from the edge of the access easement to the wall of the garage. And so, you know, these plans have been around since 2018. It's a Y18. And at that time, we were considering putting a condition that basically said you can't park on the driveway because your car is going to be too long and it's going to impede the access easement. So we just want your feedback on whether you think that's a good route or if there's something else you'd want to consider.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And then the access easement is for, not very clear in the application, but it's for a property to the left on that drawing, right?
Yeah, it's for those 2 properties behind the
Okay,
property.
all right.
Okay.
Those are my questions for you, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? I have a question. When there's trash pickup, does the trash go down this driveway or does it pick up on Overlook Drive?
I don't know specifically. My assumption is Overlook, but that's just an assumption.
I think even in this picture, I see some of the bins on
I
the
think so.
cul-de-sac.
Oh, on St. John's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just asked because I was trying to think about the overhanging car and where that can make issues. Okay. Okay. Is there a presentation from the applicant as well, or just?
They're just here to
Questions.
speak. There's no
Okay.
presentation.
Okay, so do we have any questions of the applicant by any chance?
No, if I may, we would typically not allow any cars to be
Over.
parked in a portion of or a whole car parked in that easement at all, typically. So it's park in your garage or halfway in your garage, somewhere on site, but off the easement.
How is that enforced? Is it like,
Kind of self-enforcing.
okay,
I mean, it's the folks behind them that have the easement.
okay. Is the applicant here? Can I ask the question? Is that a concern if we make it a no parking
He should come.
opportunity? You have to come up to the podium and state your name.
Yeah,
Thank
please
you.
step up.
My name is Tahid. I represent the owner. He's also my cousin. So this lot has been very challenging in terms of development. He's had it for over 2 decades. But we initially tried to do a duplex, and we couldn't meet the setback requirements. And so then we said, okay, well, let's try a single-family home. And that application went through, and we actually got approved in 2007, I believe. One of the challenges is the easement, and that's what pushes the house back so far. So to mitigate that, we put more garage space, and I think that solves the parking problem.
Okay, so you do feel like it can be functional if we go forward with the no parking in the driveway?
Well, I mean, I don't like it.
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
Right, right. But you've thought of it as a constraint and designed to
Yeah,
accommodate it.
so we designed it
Right, okay.
accordingly. So I'd rather you not. But
Sure, I hear you.
I mean, oftentimes you might want to wash your car or something like that. But so I think a constraint like maybe overnight parking rather than just no parking at all would be more palatable.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, yeah, I guess. Hi. Could you just talk a little bit about what you want to accomplish with this house? Like, what are you designing for?
I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Well, is it for rental property or?
Well, he's getting older, and it's just him and his wife, and they had a house in San Francisco they sold, and so they're thinking about moving back to Walnut Creek or the Bay Area. Right now, they work in, they live in Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean, I ask because I think that what we're being asked to do is advise from a design point of view, and I think it's important to help us to understand how you intend to use the house. That might inform some of the feedback. And if you plan on living there, I guess I would ask, it's such a constrained site, and you're devoting so much built area to cars. Did you look at schemes with only a 2-car garage? I mean, 3 cars seems like a lot for a single-family house, given the size of this house.
Yeah. We had 5 different designs that were considered. We'd rather make it a duplex so they could have some rental income and live in one part of it, but it doesn't work out size-wise.
Even with the new laws regarding ADUs?
We tried.
You tried that too?
I think Brittany could attest to so many different types of designs to get a duplex, and it just
No.
didn't work. Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you make a recommendation that we don't have to abide by the setback requirements, we're fine. And we can go back to the drawing board and put a duplex back in.
I don't know that that's within our purview. I mean, if you came back and asked for that, then that could be something we could react to, but we can't design it for you.
No, I'm not saying
Yeah.
that. But if you allow us not to abide by the setback requirements, meaning if you say, hey, you don't have to have 20 feet from the front, from overlook to the wall, then we can kind of make it more rectangle. But this is the best after years and years of going back and forth that we've come up with that meets at least most all the setback requirements.
Does it say how big the house is? I know I see the lot area, but
2,900.
and that's including the garages.
Good question. Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, that is a big house for 2 parking spaces for sure. I mean, it's clearly it's designed for more than 2 people. It would inevitably have more than 2 people with cars living there. That's a comment, not a question.
Okay.
We'll come back to that.
People like big spaces. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's what everybody wants.
No, it just comes at a cost benefit analysis, right? How much impact is there to the attractiveness and the livability of the house? You're taking up perimeter, which could otherwise be daylit space inside to park cars. You're limited in footprint, and it just seems like a missed opportunity to get more perimeter access, and why they're not consolidated, maybe even because the way the garage are now, they're sort of boxing in the main living space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can take the third car out and
Thank you.
maybe rearrange it.
Well, the beauty of this is it's a study session, so we don't have to solve anything in this moment, but we can.
Yeah, but I don't want to go back to the drawing board either. We've done that. It's been 17 years. I mean, I just want to move forward, and I think he's at his kind of tolerance as well. As we've gone through this process, we've done studies, we've done arborist studies, we've done noise studies, anything that the city has asked for, he's accomplished, and we're right now towards the finish line, and I just don't want to go back to square one again. If you think this is our idea of not parking in the driveway, is park right in the garage, and there's ample space now.
Well, I mean, to your point, Commissioner Casey, you're here because presumably you'd like to have some feedback from us. If you're saying you don't, then, I'm happy to not waste my time if that's what you want to do. We're trying to help.
Oh, I thought this was more of a procedural thing before we get to approval.
Can we get
I-
clarification for the applicant on what we're doing here?
Yeah, the project requires design review.
Yeah.
And the Design Review Commission, in this case, will make only recommendations to the Planning Commission and the Planning Commission will consider the design review with the use permit, based on the recommendations from the Design Review Commission.
I would like to help, but I have a couple questions though. I noticed,
Okay.
do you have an architect working with you on this, or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? And so when you've gone through these design iterations, it's with an architect?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Yeah, because this is going to lead to one of my comments. I mean, I think you said this. I mean, would you be willing to subtract a garage in favor of open parking? Is that something you would consider? Because I think the issue is here's the way many of us have houses, right? So garages are often not garages. Garages are often workout places, offices, other things. And the moment that happens with this house, these folks are going to be parking in the right-of-way. And that's not allowed. Regardless of what we would say or whatever here, the fire department will come, and they'll tell you to go move it somewhere else, and then you're going to be parking it down the street. You're not going to make friends with your neighbors either. So that would be something I would question whether you might consider.
Any other questions?
May I respond?
Yeah.
If we just follow your line of thought, if instead of not the two-car garage, but the single-car garage, make it open space, still build on top of it, would that help?
Did you mean eliminate a garage number, the small garage
Small
for
garage, yeah.
living space?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Oh, you
so
mean-
the issue is really, and this is the case in many cities, you need to have 2 parking spaces in garage, and this is the case in Oakland, for instance. There's 2 in the garage, and there's 2 on the property outside. So that ensures that if you have guests, they're not going to be parking in the right-of-way. So however you accomplish that, that might be my suggestion. I don't know what that would mean in terms. It's not, like I said, it's not our job to design.
Right.
That's your job. So, but I mean the subtraction, sometimes subtraction in design actually makes things better. And I think things are so crowded here, it kind of forces your hand, right? At a certain point, it drives everything else. And in this case, and I think this is one of the problems I have, is that when you look at it in plan, when you look at it in elevation, all you see are garages, right? It doesn't look like a residence. It basically almost looks like a garage as opposed to a house. And you can't even walk up to the house. I mean, the landscape plan indicates that you have landscaping in front, but then you also have, in other sheets, you have a buyer retention. So you can't even walk up. People have to walk around. So it needs a little more work.
Yeah, again, I'm trying to make my comments available to you so it helps you, not hinders you. But maybe I should just go for it. I don't know. But when you have a constrained lot and you have split garages, you're also having split asphalt. You're adding more hardscape, less landscape. You know, anything you could do to mitigate the lifeless space of a garage and its associated apron of asphalt will only help to make it a better house and a better experience for whoever lives there and probably for the community, because you're taking up all that precious land with the configuration you have. You know, even if it were a 3-car garage as opposed to a 2 and a 1, you could make an argument that you're just, you know, pushing all that stuff deep in, and it's like, you know, and you'd have the whole front 2/3 of the site then did landscape, you know?
I'm not following. So are you saying to eliminate the square footage?
What I'm
to
saying is the
increase landscaping?
the configuration, right? We have a 2-car garage and a 1-car garage.
Yeah.
And then associated with that, you have to get into it, so you have driveway, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're taking up a lot of footprint for hardscape, meaning the paved area for the car to get in, and the garages. You could just push all those things together and have a single vehicular moment, and the whole rest of the site, instead of having 2 separate driveways, you have
Yeah.
one primary driveway and the rest is all landscape. And then, you know, again, I think on the ground floor, you know, if it were my house, I mean, I think that it's problematic to come in through a bioswale to a porch, you know, with garages and trash on either side. Doesn't feel very welcoming. And the space between the garages only gets light from the front and back, right? So that's less desirable than having light on 3 sides.
So being as we're in questions, he's saying, could you consider this design alternative he's discussing?
So push the garages to one side. I think it loses the balance of the house, especially if it's articulating. I mean, that's just my opinion, but if you push all the garages to one side, yeah, it creates just one driveway or one access to the garages, but I think it'll look funky because you just have this porch.
Any other
that's just my
clarifying
opinion.
questions? Because we will have a chance for comments, because we're not
I think we're-
reviewing or.
All right, so
approving.
let's
Kinda
talk.
moving on to comments here.
Well, okay, okay, so how do we talk about the facades and stuff, like the
I
materials?
So
Is
we
that a
will have,
comment?
we will have an opportunity for comments, which with our new system are being
okay.
captured and relayed to planning. So they may have the opportunity to say, these changes have to be made or not, was my impression.
I'm
and
new, so I'm still learning
We're still
procedure.
asking questions. We're going to open it to the public to see if they have
Okay,
questions.
got it.
And then we're going to give comments.
Correct.
I jumped the gun, my apologies.
No, that's okay. We accidentally do that a lot. That's why we play Jeopardy. So any other questions?
No.
I mean, we can move the bioswale.
We'll get there.
Okay,
All right, well,
that's helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, I will open it up for public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to comment on this project? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public comment, and now we provide our comments to our lovely secretary to take notes.
Can I start with one comment? First comment is, I don't recommend that we allow parking in the apron. I think that should be a condition of approval that was suggested by staff.
Do you have any comments on the materials, the architecture,
Yeah,
the
that's-
landscaping, or the
Well,
site plan?
I concur that we have a recommendation that says the garages should be consolidated or removed. So frankly, I don't care, just one mass of garages on one side. I mean, that would be something that I would suggest. The next thing is about the bioswales. Well, the bioswales are not worked out, because if you look at the bioswales on this plan and then you look at the landscape plan, Casey, you can respond, but I don't think, I don't think you can plant the plants they have proposed in bioswales.
So I actually had a similar comment. I'm just going to take over for a second. So on sheet A 1.03, it does show the bioswales consuming the whole area between the driveways, and it doesn't show the connection to the front door, which I think is what you're articulating.
that's what I'm
Doesn't
trying- I was
align
gonna
with
say
the
it better.
landscape plan, so that's just a little clarification we would need. And I was gonna opine a little bit on the bioswales. If they're really sunken, we've all talked about this before, like out at the orchards, it's difficult to have that next to a walkway. It's a little different if it's your home, but still it's not as visually appealing. So maybe reevaluating where the bioswales occur isn't a bad idea, and just making sure the plants are suitable. And while we're in the bioswale talks, again, the ones that are shown on A 1.03 are not totally aligned with what's shown on the landscape plan, which is what sheet is this? I don't know, I got it, I'll tell you that in a second, because it's showing stepstones and things going through it, and I think typically those bioswales aren't really usable. And I would love, this is my comment, if on sheet L2, that front little bit by Overlook Drive did feel kind of usable. So I like that there's some lawn and there's some planting buffer. I think that's nice. It's making it feel like it has a front yard. So as long as that bioswale actually works, I think it's cool that there's a little space there for that.
One thing to consider is where you pave, use permeable pavement and actually do a bioretention under the driveway. There's so little space here for a yard that would be a trick you could use to get more yard. Permeable pavers, you got to dig down underneath a bit, do a fair amount of gravel, but a lot of people now in these tight situations, they're actually having the bioretention right underneath the driveway. So then you can do whatever you want. You can have a lawn or maybe not a lawn, maybe turf, something. Yeah, it needs, when it's brought back, it just needs to be coordinated. Do you want to keep rolling with the landscape architecture, come back to the architecture?
No, I can keep doing some of the landscape stuff. So I do think you mentioned trying to disregard some of the setbacks, and I feel like it's already really quite narrow, right? So there's not a lot of usable landscape space. So I think the way you're putting in step zones is nice. It's giving a little bit of movement throughout the space. I don't mind the plant selection. I do feel like the driveways kind of chop up that arrival a little bit. So my suggestion, if those remain, was to maybe really design the frontage on Overlook to be more of the wow moment, like the arrival of the home, make it feel like it's the front yard. Those are my landscape comments. I'm really building comments to you too.
Yeah, so I'll start. I know Peter has a lot, but we talked a bit. So I think first I'll start with the positive. I mean, I think that the idea of stepping the building is a good idea. You have a two-story mass. It's good to have it broken up in that way. I think there may be too many moves here for a building of this size, though. I think I would recommend a few things. I'd recommend that, first off, on the color. I know the color's white. White is it's a timeless color, and it's very popular right now. But I think in this case, being right next to the freeway, I'd recommend you consider something that deals with the dirt and the smog and everything a little bit better. I think it also might benefit with having like a bi-color scheme just to kind of break up that elevation a little bit more. And that could be done with materials, or you could just use one color below, one color higher, just a base color, lighter color above. That might change things. I think, in terms of the style of the building, style is it's so much in the eye of the beholder, but I think this was designed how long ago? Almost 20 years ago. It looks like that. It looks like a building at that time. And I think now with houses, even houses that are built like this in a more traditional way. They're more of a transitional style. They're less, there's less fussiness with the arches and so forth. I think simplification would be good. I think that if so much of the front of the garage is garage door, they better be very nice garage doors. They better be like something that's wood with windows on them. Either that or make them blank out and go away. The roofs could be simplified. I think a building like this, not a lot of discussion about the windows. One thing that really helps is detailing the windows very well, and not with a lot of stucco false work, just pushing them back, adding some detail so it looks more traditional would help as well. Just making sure they're pushed in about 2 inches, something like that. Some detail around the windows. Looking at the details of the eaves, making sure that there's a substantial detail there. But again, maybe subtracting some things. So like looking at the back of the building, that's the upper left-hand corner. You have that roof that goes through. I think that's a move too many. I don't think anybody looks back there. You can make that change in color, and it'd be better to take whatever money you're spending back there to create that roof and apply it with more finishes and better finishes on the south side and basically the two public sides that people see. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting design problem.
Yeah.
You have a small lot, you're adjacent to the freeway. I think there has to be a dialogue around how you solve wanting to bring transparency and light to the living quarters inside and mitigate traffic noise, solar exposure. Like these are at odds, right? And we're in those differences or odds, you can really find some interesting creative solutions to those problems. The apertures of the windows are so small and they just feel so claustrophobic to me. And it could be a valid approach to say, I don't, in some cases, and I'm not going to say that's the case here, you could say, well, the external environment is too harsh and I really don't, I want to make an internal world, and that's fine. Yeah, but even in that, I think there are more creative ways to address if you really wanted to create an internalized world within the house. I mean, even with double height spaces and more volume but from an exterior point of view, the way the garages are on either side, hemming in, as I mentioned before, the ability to have a corner of light into the main living space. That's where the design teams have to really understand the issues at hand and how to resolve them. And I agree in the back, you have a back that faces north-ish. It's going to be darker and with those tiny windows. And I know you have the issue of, well, I'm right up against the fence line and I've got neighbors. I don't want to have them see in or me see them. So again, that's an opportunity for creativity. How can you adequately provide light but screening? And maybe it's more clear story lighting as opposed to, so you get the benefit at least of looking above and seeing the sky and not necessarily, at eye height looking out to your neighbors. I don't know. But I think you could definitely design the back, as was mentioned, differently than the front. And it just with so much going on, and it just feels, it doesn't seem like an elegant design process in terms of mediating all of the things, the issues that you may be thinking about: privacy, transparency, daylight, solar orientation, parking, the noise from the traffic, all these things. And I think this is, like I said, there's a lot of architects that would find this to be a very challenging but yet a creative outlet to do something, you know. As far as the color, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think our mandate here is to make sure that it fits contextually into the community. So I haven't seen a survey of what the neighborhood looks like other than what I personally researched on Google. And I mean, there's some white buildings there, I guess. But colors change. People paint their houses, right? I think structurally, does the house with its pitched roofs and its mansards and things, fit in? I can't say it doesn't, but details matter. So I don't feel like I have much sway over that issue of contextuality, and it's really up to you to just do a great building. And I think some of the comments we've made today would make it a better building, but again, this is just free advice.
So if we try to shape that into like a bulleted list, because I think there are a lot of compatible comments there. I mean, I think I would agree with what you say about the windows. I think the windows are important. I mean, obviously, we don't have to live there. We don't have to sell this house or rent it out or whatever, but I think whoever the occupants are going to appreciate the windows. I'm sensitive to the fact that Bart's there, but as soon as you have a window, noise is going to go through the window, and you have to mitigate that with maybe a better window. But, I mean, this is the front of the building, so if this front of the building, I don't even know how the plan works that well. Yeah, I mean, you have, one side has a bathroom, but the other one is a bedroom. And looking from the inside out, those are kind of odd shapes. It would be better to have more regular. I mean, I think where I'm coming from is there's just too many pieces and there's too many moves. Like, even if you were to take one of those gables away, if you were to consolidate the roofs, then you would have more space on the front to develop the windows and simplify the architecture a bit.
Yeah, I mean, when you split the garages, right, it's almost like you're saying this is a house for two families.
And I mean, that was my impression in what you said, where they'd like it to be a duplex. It's not our job to figure out how they use it, but I mean, certainly that would be one way they might look at it, is that if they have two garages, then they could rent a portion of the house, maybe the upstairs. I'm not the planning police, but that may be what you're thinking. But at the same time, if you're asking for a single-family house, not a duplex, it better look like a house, right? I don't know.
So for consolidated notes, this is what I heard. I also don't approve of the idea of parking in the driveway when it's only 10 feet. I think that's a barrier for the neighbors and a pain. I do think for like car washing, doing it for a half an hour is one thing, but especially since it's kind of self-regulated. There was a comment to consider aligning the bioswales a little better with the usability of the yards and the planting. And a suggestion was to consider permeable pavers, as that means it can reduce some of the bioswale needs. Or like a hydromod under the driveway. I heard consider the white color if it's an issue with the proximity to 680. Maybe consider bicolor options. In general, this was my very simplified version of what you guys said, but was simplify the architecture. Consider that so much of the front is garage doors. Consider simplification of the roofs. And then reevaluate a site design that currently doesn't offer a corner of light into the main living space, and reevaluate windows. Oops.
I would
General.
I would say that's a good job. I would say that we'd encourage them to provide some outdoor parking for guests, something like that. Because, I mean, if you look at the way it is now, they have plenty of parking spaces for the house, but any guest is going to just immediately go park in the right of way. So something like that.
Does that feel like we captured it? Is that enough for planning commission to get the pulse of
Can I add to
our
the
thoughts?
list?
Yes.
There was some discussion about the stucco and a lot of it, and maybe consider doing something with a base with a different, at least a different color, with maybe some kind of or material. Did I hear
Yeah,
that?
color, yeah, yes. I think a bi-color solution or bi-material solution,
Or both?
or both. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if like I said, color, it's more of a consideration for maybe maintenance. It's what you're applying the color to. If that's too complicated, that it would be a stronger design if it was less complicated and than the choice of color.
Okay. Is that enough notes and we're ready to close this item?
I think we have enough to write something up.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll move on to our next item, which is the security public storage freeway sign, application number Y23-084. Do we have a staff presentation for this one?
Yes, staff has prepared a presentation.
Great, thank you.
Good job. You out here. See you Tuesday. See you Tuesday.
Ready? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, good evening, commissioners. My name is Stephen Cook. I'm an assistant planner here with the Community Development Department. The project being presented today is a request for a new freeway sign at 2690 North Main Street. Regarding some site context, the property is located between North Main Street to the west and Interstate 680 to the east, surrounded by similar service commercial zoning districts. An aerial photo is provided for reference. While the plan set includes a reface of an existing freestanding sign and installation of a new tenant wall sign, neither of these proposals require DRC approval. However, approval from the DRC is necessary for the newly proposed freeway sign. Okay, previously, the sign subcommittee did review the initial project proposal, which originally included additional signage types, such as a red LED strip light that has since been excluded from the scope of work. The sign subcommittee recommended approval of the freeway sign, noting that the new design, which is smaller in size, represents an improvement over the existing sign. Staff did receive correspondence from Caltrans. As shown, the referenced California Business and Professions Code is not applicable to this project because the proposed freeway sign is not located within the highway right-of-way. Okay. The current freeway sign, measuring 147 square feet, is currently installed at the rear of the building, facing the I-680. As a part of this proposal, the existing freeway sign will be removed and a new 125 square foot freeway sign will be installed in the same location. The proposed freeway sign features internally illuminated channel letters with a beige backing. The freeway sign complies with the standards of the sign ordinance regarding sign area and height. However, the new freeway sign requires approval from the DRC. Staff recommends that this project is exempt from CEQA under Section 15301 of the CEQA guidelines, Class 1 existing facilities. And furthermore, staff recommends the DRC to move to adopt the attached draft resolution granting approval a public security public security storage freeway sign application number Y23-084, subject to the conditions contained therein. That concludes staff's presentation. Staff is available for any questions. Additionally, the applicant is present today and is also available for any questions.
Great, thank you. Do we have any questions of staff or the applicant? Okay. At this point, I'll open it up for public comment. Is there anyone in the public who'd like to make a comment on this project? Okay, then we'll take it back for our comments and our opining on the sign. Would anyone like to start? Go ahead. Yeah, you got it, Phil. Go.
I got nothing.
Oh, you got nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Any comments? Okay, so in my opinion, it's an upgrade. I like it. I support it. I have no issue approving it.
Me neither.
Agreed.
Great. Okay, so I have a motion to approve with the conditions listed in the staff report.
I will second that motion.
Yes, roll call. Sorry, that was my cue. I was like,
Roll
oh,
call, I
gosh.
should say, with the microphone on. Okay. Chair Case,
Yes.
Vice Chair Newsom,
Yes.
Commissioner Weingarten.
Yes.
That's 3-0, that carries.
Great, thank you. So we'll move on to our next item, which is the 2890 North Main Street freestanding sign. Do we have a presentation from staff?
We don't.
Oh, right.
What we have is a request by the applicant to continue this item to the August 4th Design Review Commission meeting.
Okay, do we have to do anything, or we just say yes?
I think we need to make a motion to approve that continuance.
Okay, I have no issue with that continuance, so I will make a motion to continue this item to the August 1st, or the meeting of the first one in August, that's ours.
August 4th, correct.
I will second it.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Chair Case,
Yes.
Commissioner Weingarten,
Yes.
Vice Chair Newsom.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carried, item continued to August 4th.
Okay, so we'll move on to our next item, which is commission considerations. And I see that we have the non-residential design review standards and guidelines and non-residential objective development, also known as zoning standards. So I believe there's a presentation for us, yes? Hello?
All right. Good evening, Chair Case and members of the commission. Ben Schuster with Community Development, bringing forth tonight kind of a review and milestone update of the non-residential design review standards and guideline process. And so just wanted to note a couple things. I'm kind of taking over the remainder of this project management from Janine Cavalli, who's our longtime senior planner, who did such an amazing job on this that our design consultant, Ramey and Associates, stole her. And so we're sad to see her go. And so this is, I think, as much a celebration of her and her work as it is this project. So, yes, her legacy. And so I have with me Alessandra Lundin with Ramey and Associates. She'll be giving the majority of tonight's presentation. So our agenda tonight, again, very brief, just a quick kind of project overview, where we are in the process, and then Alessandra will step in and kind of walk through the actual document itself, and then I'll kind of close with next steps, and then we'll be available for any final questions. And just to note, there's no formal action required of the commission tonight. Again, this is really just a project milestone update, and then to offer one final opportunity for the commission to pass along any final feedback or ask any final questions before we move this along to the Planning Commission and then ultimately to the City Council. All right, so let's kind of kick things off here. So the update to the 1996 Design Review Guidelines was initiated back in 2018, 2019, and this was in response to primarily to state housing law. However, at that time, the council also took the opportunity to direct staff to further update our non-residential design standards as well. Kind of the overall goals of updating our outdated guidelines were to incorporate new design topics, add in kind of new modern design guidelines and standards, incorporating recent best practices, then also holistically reformatting the document to make it easier to use and understand. And so the actual work product itself is two separate documents. There's the residential document, and if you may recall, that was recently adopted by the City Council just last month, and that is now effective as of about 2 weeks ago. And then again, the item in front of you tonight is the non-residential booklet, kind of the corresponding piece for all of our commercial development. And again, just want to emphasize here that unlike our residential projects, the city retains much of its discretion in reviewing commercial projects in the city, and so the Design Review Commission's comments and design opinions will carry a lot more weight with the Planning Commission. And so some of the key differences, again, between our now kind of 20-year-old guidelines and our new documents, again, clear and objective standards across the board, greatly expanded design topics, and then again, much more user-friendly and lots of pictures. And then this work really couldn't have been done without the city working group that was formed early on, and that consisted of representatives from various departments in the city, and I think most importantly, two of the members of this commission who were able to use their many years of design experience and really create a product, I think, that we're all very proud of. And I know Janine especially was very proud of the work that you all had done. So passing along a thank you from her. And just a quick look at where we are in the timeline. So that black arrow there is where we're at, which again, we're almost to the very end. And so after tonight, there'll essentially be a meeting at the Planning Commission scheduled for late August, and then a meeting with the City Council for adoption in mid-September. Okay, and so now I'm going to pass along to Alessandra, and again, she's going to kind of walk us through some of the key highlights of the actual document itself.
Thank you, Ben. Good evening, commissioners. Good to be here. As Ben mentioned, I'm going to go through some more of the details of the document itself. Maybe I'll just make this down a little bit. So the purpose, there we go. The purpose of the standards and guidelines for non-residential are to enhance community character, promote quality architectural design, site planning and landscape development, provide clear set of design criteria, and then it also addresses some special uses, such as auto sales and rental, auto service stations with repair or convenience markets, drive-up takeout restaurants, and shopping centers. So on this slide, you'll see the table of contents for the document. The key or the main chapters and topics are, of course, introduction. There is a chapter on site planning, architecture and building design, parking, walls and fences, lighting, and then, of course, those special uses that I just mentioned. And then you might remember this from the residential and mixed use book. It's pretty much set up in exactly the same way. So demonstrated on the slide, you'll see that every chapter or subsection begins with a brief intent statement with the overall purpose, and then it's followed by the list of standards and guidelines. So again, standards are objectively written as priority design criteria that projects must follow. They're written with shall statements. And then guidelines are strongly recommended design criteria with which projects should comply. But there is some flexibility in how projects meet each guideline depending on unique or differing circumstances. And guidelines are written with should statements. Again, as Ben kind of mentioned, non-residential projects are not subject to objective design requirements per state law, and they will go through kind of the typical discretionary review process in the city, whereby reviewers will evaluate the project based on the degree with which they comply with the standards and guidelines. And then we also tried to build in some flexibility with the standards. So many of them have a menu of options. So for example, this is just one for special corner treatments. And as you can see, we say, okay, we want you to provide a special corner treatment, choose at least 2 of these, whether it be, a change in fenestration pattern or material or height or special architectural feature, but they have that flexibility on what they choose. So I'm now going to go into some of the details of what is covered under each key topic area. So within the site design chapter, there's access and circulation standards, such as creating smaller blocks and new connections, minimizing curb cuts and driveways to reduce conflicts between pedestrians and vehicles, and creating pedestrian pathways that connect sidewalks and streets to transit, outdoor spaces, and parking. Within services and utilities, we have standards to locate utilities, equipment, and service areas to the rear and side of buildings and to screen them. And then within landscaping, we have minimum size and spacing standards, limitations on turf, and stormwater management. Within the building design chapter, we focus on portions of the building that are visible from the street, the public realm, and outdoor spaces. So they include orienting buildings towards the street and outdoor spaces, providing weather protection and accentuating entries, mediating the scale, massing, and bulk through building modulation, whether that be step backs or major and minor massing breaks, creating well-crafted human scale details and facades through articulation. So that could be variations in materials and textures, window and trim elements, roof overhangs and screening devices, and then encouraging a variety of materials and colors that add visual interest. Within the building design chapter, we also have standards that address the design of ground floor retail and commercial spaces. So we held a number of stakeholder interviews with commercial and downtown business stakeholders, and we incorporated their feedback into these standards to ensure that commercial spaces are both leasable and contribute to a vibrant pedestrian frontage. So we have minimum storefront transparency requirements, minimum ground floor height and depth, weather protection for entries. There are some awning design standards for placement and high quality materials. And there are outdoor dining standards, including location and accessibility, barriers, and furniture. And then this slide highlights some of the details of the specific feedback and revisions we made based on those stakeholder interviews. And these are, for the most part, the same as the revisions that were made and adopted as part of the residential mixed-use book for ground floor commercial development. So we incorporated the minimum retail ground floor height and depth recommended by stakeholders, so 18 feet in height, 50-foot depth. We added a standard for minimum 30-foot spacing between columns to really maximize leasable or usable retail space. We have a venting and grease trap requirement, and that's to allow for restaurant tenants. We now require a service corridor or similar rear access to refuse so that commercial tenants don't have to walk along the frontage with their trash. We also have a new standard to facilitate customer access from any rear parking areas to retail spaces along the street. We added a requirement for ground floor retail materials or I should say a guideline, to encourage them to be distinct from upper floors. We made some minor modifications to the glazing requirements. And then at their request, we also added landscaping as a method for accentuating building entries. And then some of the additional topics covered in the non-residential book include parking. So the standards focus on locating parking to the rear and side of buildings, creating pedestrian routes through parking areas, and screening surface and structured parking from view. And then there are a number of lighting standards, most around ensuring that lighting is pedestrian scaled, using timing controls for outdoor lighting for efficiency, and encouraging that lighting fixtures are architecturally compatible with the building. And then the last chapter of the non-residential design standards and guidelines covers some of those special uses that require really specific design considerations. So the 1996 standards and guidelines were updated and improved to add clarity and also to address best practices and recent development trends, such as encouraging pedestrian-oriented urban auto showrooms and limiting outdoor vehicle display areas on street frontages. We also added or improved landscaping, fence and wall and screening standards for auto sales and auto service stations to really minimize their impacts on the street frontage and pedestrian experience. And then while we were updating the special use standards and guidelines, it became apparent that some of the design standards kind of overlapped with some of the standards that were already in the zoning code, or they more appropriately belonged there. And so you will find in your packet some corresponding code amendments for those special uses. The following slide highlights some of the topics and standards included in the document for drive-up takeout restaurants, such as requiring landscaping along the perimeter and drive-up aisles, orienting the building entries to the street rather than to parking areas, encouraging four-sided architecture, and providing separate and distinct vehicular and pedestrian circulation through the site to really minimize conflicts between vehicles and pedestrians. And then lastly, there are a number of standards and guidelines specific to the design of shopping centers, including building design and articulation standards. We have a requirement for publicly accessible private outdoor space, including design standards. There are pedestrian pathway design, dimension and material standards, limitations on curb cuts and driveways, and street activation by locating commercial and pad buildings along street frontages and at corners. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Ben to talk about next steps.
Great, thank you, Alessandra. So again, just very briefly, next steps. Again, this was an opportunity to get final feedback from the community. We did not receive any public comment prior to today's meeting, and I don't see anyone here in the room. And then to, again, synthesize any comments from this commission, any final comments, and then we would be able to pass those along to the Planning Commission and to the City Council. Otherwise, like I mentioned earlier, we will be going to the Planning Commission in August and to the City Council in September. And so we're going to end here, and just again want to reemphasize there's no formal action required tonight, but we are looking for any last feedback, if any, kind of in these three areas relating to the document, applicability, format, and then any sort of specific design topics or standards. And we're also looking for sort of a positive recommendation that we can communicate to the council as well. With that, we're available for questions.
Great. Does anyone have any questions?
I'll ask one. So applicability. These are objective design standards, so the idea is that staff can use them as a ruler to decide if something complies, but if it doesn't comply, what's the applicant's recourse? Do they go take the Planning Commission? Do they take it to us? How does that work?
So I think unlike with the residential developments where there's a little bit more strict right? You either comply or you don't in terms of getting your objective design review approved. If you recall, the framing is the degree to which the project meets the intent of the non-residential standards and guidelines. So there is, I think, the key word is discretion, right, by whoever the reviewing body is in determining does this comply or not. I think how we do today with projects, right, if there is a kind of wide gap between, you know, what the staff or this body or the planning commission is telling the applicant in terms of this is our comfort level in approving a discretionary entitlement, and the applicant is not willing to redesign the project, then, you know, assuming they insist on processing the project, you know, presumably that would result in a denial of the project, and then the applicant, if they disagree with that outcome, can appeal. So it's how we treat any sort of design review.
Yeah. I mean, I think
If I may,
Yeah.
this might also be a good chance, because those commercial projects would come to this body for recommendations, and they would be asking essentially for exceptions to these design guidelines. And we would be relying on your expertise to say whether or not the evidence is compelling enough to allow that.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, really, is because if Richard Meyer came strolling in here, he wouldn't meet these requirements, but we would be like really excited to approve it. I mean, and even some of the things that we've seen, like that F&M bank, I mean, that is an example of something that wouldn't comply, but they did a really nice job designing it twice. So I would just like to see that those folks have a voice in a way to get passed through us. Yeah. That's all.
Any other questions? I have no questions either. So we don't have to do anything formal. So great, thank you. Oh, should I ask for public comment? Oh, no, we're out of the public hearing stuff, right? Okay, are there any comments from the public? Great, thank you. Seeing none. Hi. Okay, so with that, we will move on to our commission member and staff reports. Yes. Thank you, guys.
I've discovered a mistake that I made. This is on me, and it was on item 42B, the item that was continued. And if we could, a formal vote of hands, if it's okay to reopen this item?
Okay.
Is it okay to reopen?
Fine
Okay.
with that, yep.
I made the mention to continue this to a date certain. I believe I said August 4th.
Okay,
It's actually September 7th,
okay.
if that's okay. Okay.
I don't have a strong opinion on the date.
Okay.
Okay.
September 7th. Thank you.
Okay, so with
Chip,
that,
don't do that again.
I know, how dare you? So we'll move to commission member and staff reports or announcements. Any from staff?
Yes.
Okay,
The August 4th meeting is canceled. No,
okay.
but it's true. The August 4th meeting, because of lack of items,
Okay.
has been canceled, and then August 21st will be canceled because lack of quorum. So the next meeting will be September 7th, when we hear 2890 North Main.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, anything from commissioners?
Well, just, they're not here, but thank you to Commissioner Killian and Leah for their service. That's all.
Second that,
Yeah, that was nice. Thank you.
We'll miss
Thank you for mentioning that.
yeah. Anything else? Okay, adjournment. Thank you.